Now, I kind of want to take it back a little bit for those of you guys watching who aren't familiar with your story, Joel, and those of you guys who maybe are sitting here watching and wondering, this guy went to prison. What the hell did he do? What is he talking about? Now, before you went to prison, you ended up getting arrested for selling acid. And correct me if I'm wrong as I explain this, but you were selling acid and you started doing it as you were a major Deadhead. You became a big fan of the Grateful Dead, started going across the country and even to other countries to attend their shows. And that's when you started getting into the LSD game, correct?
Yes. Now,
talk to me a little bit about the Grateful Dead. How'd you get into them? Because you've been to over 100 shows,
101
right?
shows. I chronicle it all in the book. At the age of 13, my brother took me to see the AC/DC. And so then I heard on the radio, the Grateful Dead's coming to town. I was 15. It was the summer of 84. I think it was June. And I thought it was a heavy metal band. And so I got 2 tickets, took this girl. We took the bus. The radio station had this bus that went out there, and we went to the show. That's a whole nother story because we didn't actually have tickets to the show. We were supposed to exchange them with the bus driver. Got into the show. I was 15. I had maybe taken mushrooms 2 or 3 times by that time. And the music started. You just wanted to dance. And
it was a good vibe.
It was just this amazing music, and I just fell in love with it. I can't explain it. It was. I hate to do an analogy to like religion, but it was. It was for sure a spiritual experience. It had a 600-song repertoire, so you could see 15 shows in a row. You might see 3-4 songs repeated. That's it.
Really? They have that many songs?
Yeah. In the middle of the show, they'd have a drum solo. There were 2 drummers, Billy Kreutzmann and Mickey Hart. And there'd be this long drum solo for maybe 35, 45 minutes, and they'd come back out for the second set. And I mean, and it's improvisation. That's what they really did. And it was like the energy off the crowd. And I met Billy after, but the intensity and the intimacy of what you had with the music of going back and forth. Like, I think if everybody stopped dancing, the whole stadium would have just risen off the ground. But I had a fucked up childhood, and this was just kind of like this cocoon of love, and it was just amazing. And you could go to a show with $200-300 in your pocket. You'd have your those Coleman white gas grills. You'd have 4 pans. You might do 300-400 grilled cheese, 20 cases of beer, make $800-1200-1500, score. It was $30 a sheet. It was 3,000 a gram. Score like 50 sheets. Go back to some city and just sell it all. I never really sold drugs on the lot. You could get them there.
By the lot, you mean like what, outside of the Grateful Dead shows?
The scene, and they would call it Shakedown Street, and everybody would be vending.
It's like tailgating for a football game.
Unbelievable, yes. And they allowed everybody to record the songs too. And so,
really,
you could bring. There would be a recording section, and you'd have your Nakamichi decks with the mics, the directional mics. But it was just a special thing. Like I can't explain it in words of like what a Dead show was, but like it was in the moment, and like time stopped, and the music and the intimacy and the people. Like there was never, the only violence there ever was like if there would be some drunk deadhead and he would try to jump up on stage. It wouldn't happen often, but the staff might come down on you pretty hard. But
tackle him or something.
That first show, we didn't have the tickets, because you were supposed to exchange them with the bus driver, and we're waiting in line, and we get up to the front at Alpine Valley, one of their favorite venues. And they look, because we had these little bus tickets, which is what I bought. And when you take the bus there, you're supposed to exchange them with the driver. And at the end of the day, when we went back to the bus driver's like, "You never got your tickets." It was like this party bus. We were 15. So they ended up believing our story. They walked us all the way around in Alpine Valley on the side. They took us backstage. I think it was, I can't remember her name.
So you got up there and you were just kind of like, "Listen, we were supposed to exchange these tickets."
We didn't even know that, but they figured that out. They walked us in backstage. They sat us in maybe the 15th or 20th row underneath the underhang. It's probably 80,000 people there.
It's awfully nice of them to help you out.
Unbelievable. And then this guy pulled out a bag of mushrooms. We took a couple caps and just had a great show, but it was like you just wanted to dance to the music, like you just moved to it. And unbelievable. And then when Jerry Garcia died, the whole time I was in prison, this thought of I got to go back to the shows. And I wasn't a huge dealer, like 6,000-7,000. I think when I went to Europe, that's the most cash I had was like 7,000. I mean, I would sell a gram or two of acid. I'd make 2 or 3 grand, but then you could go on tour for 3-4 weeks. And so I never had huge sums of money, but I was connected to the people, right? And they trained me well, like the safety first. And I was never caught with, I mean, I did the crime. I went to trial.
Yeah.
The guy that ratted on me never got caught with, it was his friend. And all the ways that we sent the money on Western Union, you could do like a fake code. And so you could go to Western Union, you just fill out the code with the test question with no ID, and they would give you the money. And like I would, one time in San Francisco, I was 1,500, 1,000, and 1,500. I picked up 3 separate people, 3 separate names, 3 separate test questions, and they would just give you the cash.
What is a test question?
So like they would say, you'd have a physical description, 5'11", 150, brown eyes, and then I would tell you any test question. So while you're in a Western Union in New York, it would literally, the piece of paper would say, what's your test question? You'd have to get it right to the letter. You couldn't have, so it'd be like, what color is the brown rabbit? And then I would write on the test question, and then you would say yellow and blue, and I would put yellow and blue. And then they would see if the test question matched, if the physical description matched, who's sending it. You could just say Dick Smith.
That sounds like a very exploitable system.
Very exploitable. You can't do that anymore, so I'm not giving away any things. And then that actually created the federal crime. So when they busted him, they thought he was full of shit. It was just some sheriff that came to question him because he sold 25 hits to somebody. And then he told him this elaborate scheme, and they actually thought he was insane. And so they called the DEA. He admitted everything to them. And then they went around the country to all the Western Unions, he said, and found in their records all these slips.
Wow.
But there was no cameras, no pictures. So it's very circumstantial evidence, but it proved that what he said had accuracy because they found them. And he said, I filled those out, but they had no evidence. There was no drugs at trial. They had no envelopes, like, whenever I would do it with my left hand. I wouldn't lick the stamp, none of that. So they didn't really have anything. And then when they arrested me, they already convened a grand jury and had the 19-count indictment and followed me for many months. And they wanted to catch me they never thought I was going to take them to trial. So it was stubbornness, a little bit of honor, and some stupidity. And so that's kind of the story of how I got busted. So I actually was never caught with LSD. And I always thought it would make you go insane. And so...
What, taking LSD?
So I sold it for a couple years, and then October 15th, 1989, which is the year anniversary my dad died, was with friends of mine, new friends of mine, and we just started eating off this sheet. And I don't know, I probably ate 8 or 9 before we realized.
Wow, that's a fat
and she
dose,
ate 8 or
dude.
9 too. Yeah, and it was, but it was a beautiful trip. And I mean, maybe the most 10 times I took LSD, because it's a pretty powerful thing. Like,
it's very powerful. I used to love it when I was younger. It's a very, very powerful drug. I don't do it anymore.
How old are you?
26.
26. Yeah, I don't think I would ever do it again. Maybe under the right circumstances, if it was a spiritual situation, I wouldn't consider that a relapse. But it just kind of takes you into that space, man. Like I did a little posting on my Instagram or TikTok, but it's kind of like if life is you're in the 3rd level of a ship, and you're in your stateroom, and there's a little window that opens up, right? That's kind of life. And then when you take a psychedelic experience, you're like up on the deck, and you can see the whole horizon, and you have the whole command of the ship.
The whole ship, the whole galaxy around it, you got everything.
And then how are you going to interpret that? I mean, it depends the state of mind, and and then like you still learn from it. Like, do you know Terrence McKenna or Alan Watts?
I'm familiar with Terrence McKenna.
Yeah, they were the pioneers.
Very legendary in the space.
Legendary in the space with the D too. So I never met or heard of anyone that ever abused LSD. There probably are, but it just wasn't a thing where like not
It's a
and
that people have respect for, I think.
yeah.
You know? It's a weird one. It's not like most of these other, you talk about, or you talk about, prescription like or Xanax, something like that. Those are all very addictive, but LSD, like people like almost like really revere it. They treat it with such a high.
It's a
Like
sacrament. It's a
it is.
religious sacrament. It
Yep.
is. And the thing is, like MK Ultra abused it because they would try to get, they did all these crazy tests with it. But the other thing is too, it's one of the only that they've ever done that some studies actually had 100% success rate for curing like really bad alcoholics.
Yeah.
Because they would take them on a bad trip and show them what they did wrong. And there's a lot of studies with that. So it's weird. And the reason why I never wanted to take it is because some of that brainwashing, I thought like if I took LSD, it would make me want to fly and I'd jump out of a window. Like that was a thought that was pervade for the whole country. Like it's bad and it's this, but it was the radical social change that people would break the mold.
Mm-hmm.
The culture and the beliefs that were pushed upon us are like washed away to like what is really the situation with life.
I mean, what was some of the propaganda that they were putting out about LSD back in the day? Do you remember anything specific?
I remember that I just always remember, it was like a commercial or my mom telling me like, if you take LSD, you're going to think that you can fly and you're going to jump out of a window. And I remember the first time I took the second time I took I was with, I won't say their last name, Scott and Chris, who were brothers. And we sat in a room, we started to peak. We talked for about 45 minutes telepathically. And
Really?
that was really unbelievable, man. Like, and it's like, okay. And, at the time, 14, 15, first time I took mushrooms was 13. This is probably the second or third time. So it's pretty powerful. And then on LSD, you can see the molecules. You can see your aura. Like my aura was always, you'd have like this golden hue. Everybody has a different color, but
everyone's
you could
glowing.
see that. And that's, I think, is there. It's not from the LSD. Your brain is just allowed to see it.
Yeah.
So never had any violence. And certainly like when I would have a good intense trip, it wasn't like I needed it again. And the people that bought it were adults. It's funny because I sent that shit all over the world, but the most money I had, I remember I was walking, I got my passport in 24 hours in Chicago. I left the next day to go on the Europe tour, Frankfurt, Hamburg, Berlin, Essen, Paris at the Zenith, and then London. And then we went back to Amsterdam for a second time. But I remember counting the money at $7,000, but the thing is on tour, if you had 600-800, you're with 4 or 5 guys, you got 4,000 or 5,000 in the car. I mean, it was the 80s. You didn't need any more,
Yeah, that's plenty of money. You're balling.